For another catch up with Mayo. As if anybody finds out that I'm here. I always say that at the beginning, right? Anybody know that I'm here? Hello, hello, hello. What do we got here? Some threads? So we got a thread here. Hmm. Oh well. This is wardrobe, folks. White threads. Still a spot there. Well, I'm pulling this off. I'll wait for all you people to join me. Got my water here on a Sunday morning. All right. What is going on, folks? Who will be the first to say hello? It will be Beetle Eddie. Good morning, Beetle Eddie. And Nick, CD Man. All right. We're rolling, maybe. We're rolling. And Ed, you might ask me if I listened to Breakfast with the Beatles. Well, I brought a CD with me of Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, Up Your Alley. I listened to Up Your Alley, but I did listen to the beginning of the Ken Dashow Breakfast with the Beatles show. And you know what? You want to know? First song was All Together Now. So, wasn't too happy about that. The second song, Good Day Sunshine. Yeah, these are nice songs. They're cute songs. They're la-di-da pretty songs. But I don't always want to hear Good Day Sunshine all together now. So I shut the show off. Oh, he played Revolution. John Lennon rocked the joint a little bit, and then I put my Joan Jett CD on after that. So that's what I did. That was my experience this morning while driving. And I'm sure everybody wants to know that. So, what's going on, folks? Waiting for people to make comments, ask questions, whatever. Got a nice day today, that's for sure. Beautiful May day. Empty glass. Good morning, empty glass. What's on everybody's so-called minds? Are they still sleeping? Last night I watched Exorcist 3. Not my first time. I've seen it many times. But that was my movie last night. Even my girlfriend liked it, which is, she doesn't like horror films, but it's an intelligent, gripping story. More of a police story than anything. So she was able to enjoy it. All right, we got 21 people here, but not many comments. All right, Beetle Eddie did not listen to much to Ken Dashow. All right. So what's everybody doing today? It's a good enough time here that in England should certainly be here, right? Saying hello. What do you say there, jolly old England? For example, Fred from the Netherlands. Hello, Fred. Best regards. That's nice. All the way from the Netherlands. If you're in the east, it's early. It's about a quarter to 10 a.m. Did I see Paul with the new king yesterday? No, I did not. Did not. Unfortunately, my girlfriend was watching a lot of that coronation. I just don't care about royalty. It does not thrill me. It does not mesmerize me. That does not impress me. Does not interest me at all. And a lot of times people say, "Well, why do you care about celebrities, movie stars, music stars, television stars?" And they say they're just people like everybody else. They tell me. That's how I feel about the king, the queen, the prince. I royalty. They're just people. They don't interest me at all. I guess they got to be making movies and record albums and stuff for me to feel a little bit, impressed. My girlfriend says, "But this is history. This is history. All these years of history. The king couldn't give a rat's patootie." I hear people walking around here today. Hope nobody bothers me today here in this room. It's my favorite room. We'll see how that goes. Eddie, I didn't get the rest of that movie. You saw a good movie last. Oh, my name is Otto. You mean A Man Called Otto? Tom Hanks movie? Or is there a movie called My Name is Otto, which is a different movie? Not sure. Yeah, that was a pretty good movie. I keep saying every time I talk about A Man Called Otto, I keep thinking it was good, but I've seen so many movies like that before, the same theme. One of them is Gran Torino with Clint Eastwood. There were a lot of movies like that where it's like a guy, usually an old grouchy man who is kind of fed up with things, and then later on, people kind of soften him a bit, and he becomes a little more likable. You know, so yeah, people keep mentioning As Good as It Gets with Jack Nicholson. That's another thing, Astro Zombie. Yeah, I saw As Good as It Gets. I actually saw that, and I don't really remember it though, but I did see it a long time ago. I remember it was pretty good. I just don't remember the details about it. So, this summer in theaters, Rancid Mayo, rated R. Yeah. I see Fred is asking me, am I more of a Star Trek or Star Wars fan? Way more of a Star Trek fan. I do not like Star Wars, although I do appreciate the uh, the, the first three movies pretty much. They were okay, but I was the perfect age for Star Wars. I was 15 when the first Star Wars film came out, but I just wasn't interested then really. And then I got to see the first three, and I think they're good, but nah, I'm just not a fan. And Star Trek, I didn't really grow up with Star Trek either, really. Star Trek I caught later in life, and I like Star Trek better. Let's put it that way. I'm not crazy about either one. Lucky Jackson says the movie Beau is Afraid is interesting. An interesting new film. Yeah, I know Tom Magnotti saw that, and so it was pretty good. You may note that I changed the channel to my movie channel again for the time being. Yeah, it's become a little inside joke that I kind of keep changing the movie channel name. Right now, it's simply Movies with Mayo. So if you want to go over there and subscribe and help me out, that would be terrific. But you have to like movies, and in particular, you have to like horror movies and science fiction movies and TV shows. But that's not the only thing that I'll talk about because, for example, we talked about A Man Called Otto. I did a video review on A Man Called Otto on my movie channel. So I'm trying to grow my movie channel a bit. I've been trying that for a while. I realize a lot of the movies that I'm going to put on there are going to be older movies and obscure movies, and not many people are going to be into them, particularly older, obscure science fiction and horror films. but not only that. Like I said, it won't only be that stuff, but that'll be my first love over there. You know. I notice when there's a moment where there's nothing to talk about, you don't know what kind of face to make. You sit there like, yeah, supposed to smile, or not. So, yeah, I always think this is a bad time to do these. Sunday morning at like 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning here, not the best time to do these kinds of things. Hello, Lila. Usually ask good questions. I'm always looking forward to your questions. Who would have thought that Darth Vader would end up the most lovable and popular villain? Let's say that's not my thing. So, yeah, the Time Machine. Although I love, 1950 science fiction movies, never been a big fan of the Time Machine. I like those creatures. What are they called? Morlocks. I like them. They're interesting to watch. Philip, I did not. I don't think I heard Julian Lennon's cover of Imagine. I know that recently it was around. People were talking about it. People were listening to it. It was, I think, on YouTube. But I really didn't bother with it. To tell you the truth. I don't really care much about Michael Bublé, but my girlfriend loves Michael Bublé very much. Okay, the Big Bang Theory. I hear. Yeah. Big Bang Theory, another show I'm not wild about. Lila says we became the Morlocks during COVID. I guess that's a good way of looking at that. And Doctor Who. Well, all these subjects today I'm not interested in, like Doctor Who. I've never been a fan of Doctor Who. Wonder if I'll ever get to that review of Blind Man. A lot of people want me to review the Ringo movie Blind Man, and I got to get to it. I definitely have to get to more movie stuff. Like I said, I'm ideally my goal. I know it's a long way away, but my goal on the movie channel is to probably put up a movie video per day, literally one movie a day. And that's, it's not, it shouldn't be hard to do because the movie reviews are only like 5 minutes long. A lot of them are short, 5 minutes or so. So that shouldn't really be difficult. But even, I kind of have notes that I have notes of movies that I watched years and years and years and years and years ago. So I always have a movie ready, even if it's not a movie I've just watched recently. What Beatles vinyl do I have the most copies of? It could be the U.S., the American Hard Day's Night album, maybe. Introducing the Beatles, the VJ album. I have a lot of those too. Astro Zombie says you saw some old lives of myself and Doc. Tom used to be on so much more often. Yeah, well, that's true. Do I like John Cleese? Sure. Not a huge fan or anything, but what's up? That bubble? Empty glass saw Magical Mystery Tour for the first time. It was better than expected. Oh, good, good. It's a time capsule. It's interesting. It at least has psychedelia in there. Beetle Babe, we got what's up, boy? Beetle Babe, you're always around, up and about. Yeah, it's just a matter of sitting down and doing it. That's the hard part. Exactly. And you have to look halfway decent. I like to be clean shaven. I like to have my hair styled, which is not too good today, really. But I mean, these little vanity things. This is what when you make videos, you're a little vain. You try to, sometimes I just throw a cap on. So you've been trying to do the same thing, Jen. You've been trying to do what a movie a day on your video channel. I watched some old videos of Jen Beetle Babe yesterday. Wow, you started a long time ago. You were really, really younger. How is Don? Well, the only thing I could say is you see how Don is in the video that I just did. Record store video. Um, I love the "Stop and Smell the Roses" album by Ringo. I think it's one of his best albums. Hey, it's Gary from Gary's Comics and Movies. What's going on, Gary? At times like this, I wish I was doing. I wish I was just doing a live stream where I could bring Jen and Gary up here, but I'm not. I'm doing a solo. It's sad seeing Don in that latest video. Did he ever have a day job? Don does not want to work. I think there was a time when he did have a job, but I've said to many people, I've seen people come into the store and offer him jobs. Not the most, glamorous jobs, of course, but I've seen them offer him jobs, and he says, nah, he'd rather beg for money and live the way he's living. So how can you help a guy like that? Oh, Caleb, happy Sunday. Yeah, Gary says he usually does a week or two of videos in one sitting at a time and then put them out daily. Yeah, that's the thing to do. That's, when I have, that's another thing too is I have to have quiet upstairs. When I'm not home right now, but when I do videos in my Beatles room at home, I like to do it on a day when nobody, the upstairs neighbors are not home, so it's quieter. And on those days, I should do a series of videos and stockpile them. I've done that before, but not regularly. You know. Yeah, I saw Jen's old "No More Fan Mail" from Ringo. Yeah, it's an old video. Mystery Train said, I saw your first video the other day, the first video I ever made. The room was bare compared to today. Yeah, that wasn't the same room. That was another place that I lived. But yeah, have I gone back and watched The Lost Weekend again? No, I think I'm good for a while. I saw it three times with three different people in the movie theater three times. So I'm good for a while not seeing it. Stop and Smell the Roses was listed by Rolling Stone magazine as the worst album of 1981. They can kiss my fucking ass for that. I really don't care. Rolling Stone is just a complete rag, especially these days. Complete rag to wipe my ass with. And back then it wasn't much better, to tell you the truth. Okay, I'm reading your comments, Jen. Do I think there'll ever come a time that Paul and Ringo will do a concert or album together? No, I do not think so. And I think if there was ever going to be a time, it probably would have happened already. How's my weekend going? Well, so far, so good. When you wake up and it's a beautiful day and the weather's nice and the sun is out, that's already good. Unfortunately, I turned on the news this morning and the first thing I heard was another shooting, this time at a mall in Texas. I mean, enough with that. In fact, I just shot a video before I came on here live. I just shot a video about how fed up I am with the shootings that are going on in this world, this country. Um, hey, elementary penguin there. What do you say there, little girl, huh? So, what do I consider the best Ringo album? That's the self titled album Ringo from 1973. After that, I'd say his best album after that is 1992's Time Takes Time. And you can tell, even the thing is, they call it the worst album of 1981. I'm sure if you heard every single album in 1981, there's no way Ringo's Stop and Smell the Roses is the worst album of 1981. It's just, they do that all the time. It's like it's an easy target. Ringo is an easy target, so they say, "Oh, Ringo's album's the worst album of '81." There definitely have to be worse albums. And not just that, but the same thing happens when they talk about like Michael Medved, and these guys that made the Golden Turkey Awards book. They say, the worst movie ever made is Plan 9 from Outer Space. It's not the worst movie ever made. There were far more boring movies than that. At least it's not boring. Vertical Man is a good Ringo album. Also, I agree with that. Where was more important to the Beatles beginning to cut their musical teeth, the Cavern or Germany? Wow, that's a good question. Both the Cavern and Hamburg, Germany, were important places for the Beatles to improve and hone their craft. So I don't know which one's more important. I'm gonna say Hamburg was the most important lesson to help them out, improve them. Did I hear the big drama between George and Ringo's wife? The only thing I know is that George Harrison slept with Maureen, Ringo's first wife. Yeah, I agree with you. Astro Zombie said it well. The jerk off who does Mystery Science Theater 3000 gave some fun movies a terrible name where people will judge before they even see them. Yeah, I agree with you. I've never been a fan of Mystery Science Theater 3000. I got people in this room over here. Hope you can hear me. Yeah, I suppose Stu Sutcliffe would not be associated with the cavern. Do I have a favorite Beatles book? I think my favorite Beatles book is simply Tune In by Mark Lewis, and it's the best biography of the Beatles so far, I think. Hello, James. James Dockman. The Beatles Forever, Nicholas Schaffner. That was a good earlier book that's one of the first Beatle books I ever got. It wasn't the very first, I don't think, but it was, I think, All Together Now, the Wally Podrazik and Harry Castleman book was the first Beatles book I got. The rainbow cover one. Are you talking about? What's the rainbow cover one? Of the Beatles, an illustrated record. Maybe is that the one you're talking about? The rainbow cover. I'm not familiar with Beatles gear. What did I think of the Complete Beatles? The Complete Beatles documentary was really good in 1982. 40 years ago. These days, a lot of people still like the Complete Beatles, but I think a lot of people are nostalgic for it. I don't think it's really that great anymore. I don't think it holds up. I think the Beatles anthology documentary clearly surpassed the Complete Beatles. Having said that, there's still good footage in the Complete Beatles, that good interviews with Alan Williams and uh, George Martin's other people too. There's some good interview footage in the Complete Beatles. Um, why is Mark Lewison waiting so long with part two? It's really frustrating, isn't it? All the fans want him to do another book, part two. The problem is, he says he's waiting to get a lot more documentation and official historical notes and paperwork, and that's admirable that he's actually trying to do it right. He's trying to get all the information. Nothing wrong with that. However, it's taking way too long at this time. I think it's been, I don't know how long. Has it been at least 10 years, something like that, since the first volume? And okay, if I could have one vehicle, would you have the Yellow Submarine or the Magical Mystery Tour bus? I'll take the Mystery Tour bus. A Hard Day's Night or Help? Both. I like both the Hard Day's Night and Help equally. But these days, maybe I'd give a little hair to Help. But they're both great movies, Beatle movies. Yeah, I don't know what that Beatle book is, Jen, that you're talking about. Beatles gear is a must-have if you have any background in musical instruments. If you buy it, you want to get the expanded version that came out later. Yeah, I'm just not interested. Me, I'm not interested in musical gear, instruments. So that's why I don't have the book. Good morning to Darren Gamble. Don't ask me to sing because I'm not going to sing, Darren. Yeah, and Malcolm McDowell, I agree, Lila. Malcolm McDowell is very good as the narrator in the Complete Beatles. I agree with you. Yeah, and like Empty Glass says, the Complete Beatles was pretty short as far as documentary length. It's like 2 hours. Well, yeah. Oh, if you're talking about the Sergeant Pepper suits with the rainbow on the top, it's probably the Beatles an illustrated record. Was the book you're talking about album size, like this, almost the size of a 12-inch record? Because that's the book. If it's the one I'm thinking. How do I feel about the Wings' greatest album? I think it's probably my favorite Paul compilation. I think it's really good. I enjoyed it back in 1978. The only thing that I kind of regret about it, I wish was on it, was listen to what the man said. I wish somehow they could have put that song on. That's the only thing. It's a glaring omission from it. But it was the right, Wings' greatest was the right album at the right time. So far as a hits compilation of Paul. Okay, Jen, glad to be able to help you. Yeah, get that book, Beatles: An Illustrated Record. It's a good book. I get a kick out of how I came here this morning and I said to the guy who is in charge of this place, I said, are there any open rooms today? And he said, all of them are open, all of them. Well, there's a class in here, that one. So don't tell me they're all open, please. You know, Beatle Babe, I don't know if you know, but John Lennon also had the book, The Beatles, an Illustrated Record, and he read it. And he was annoyed because they insisted that he was called Johnny Silver at one point in one of their gigs. And John insisted that he'd never been called Johnny Silver before. So he actually sent them a letter and he said, "Get the illustrated record, set the illustrated record straight, or forever hold your penis." He wrote, and that particular note appears in the revised version. If you ever want to see the revised version of the Beatles and illustrated record, it has a light blue cover. The Beatles in their gray suits with a light blue background. That one has the copy of the Lennon note in it. Caleb says he has a coworker tell him recently that she isn't a Beatles fan. She only likes their songs when they're sung by other people. Did you tell her to take a pill? Did you tell her go see her doctor, get plenty of rest? Did you tell her that? I love doing that. I'm sorry, but it's funny. Girls' school or give Ireland back to the Irish? No contest. Girls' school. What do I think of the remaster of Red Rose Speedway? I haven't heard it yet. I don't intend to hear it because, quite frankly, I'm not. I don't like the album. I bought it just as to have a complete collection, and Red Rose Speedway has already been out many times, and I have it on the McCartney Archive collection. So, I mean, how much more do I need to hear it as far as upgrades go? Andy says, "Have I ever contemplated what life would have been like if I'd never discovered the Beatles? I can't imagine that. Maybe I'd be stuck being bored to death by football or something. No, I really don't know. Yeah, I don't know how Buckingham Palace felt about John sending back his MBE medal, but I don't think they couldn't have been too thrilled about it. Yeah, life was so wonderful with the Beatles in it. It's hard to imagine life without the Beatles. John sending back his MBE would have resulted in his not being knighted if he had lived. If John Lennon were alive today and that were true, I hope he would say, "Who, from this blow I may never recover." I don't think John was interested in that kind of stuff anyway. The Queen burnt all her Beatles vinyl. I think also she burnt her fingers attempting to burn her albums. So, what's the good word out there, folks? Yeah, she did that back when when John said the Beatles were more popular than Jesus. Well, he said that, but he wasn't bragging about it. He was just deploring the attitude. Well, I'm glad that your mom had your best interests at heart, Jen. when it comes to curating you into a Beatles fan. I'm not a coffee drinker. No, I'm not. I always tell this story. I used to drink coffee, not a lot. I never was a big coffee drinker. I would have an occasional cup of coffee, and I always liked coffee. I mean, who doesn't like coffee? But then one time I went to a restaurant and I drank a lot of cups in succession, 3 or 4 cups of succession. And that night I threw it up. I vomited coffee all night. And I never, that was in 2014. I never had coffee since. Does Don always sleep rough? I guess so. Yeah, that's true, Lila. You can imagine John and George not wanting knighthoods, but of course Paul McCartney laps it up. Well, he's a proud British man, Paul, so I can understand that. Yes, Caleb, I'm still primarily listening to CDs in my car. I just brought a Joan Jett CD with me today up here, and I played it there in the car. You know, I enjoyed it. I enjoy listening in the car. Definitely. CDs are great. I agree. What's my favorite non-Beatles related band? In no particular order. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, the Rolling Stones, the Monkees, Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, Led Zeppelin, even. You know, Blondie. Good morning, Joe Gunnery. Do I have Netflix? No, I don't. It's funny. I do not have Netflix. Yet almost every day, like clockwork, I get a notice, a bogus spam note telling me your Netflix account is in jeopardy. You have to hit this link. Really? I don't have a Netflix account. When does the flea market open? Well, the flea market is probably open right now, Elvin. But well, my girlfriend and I are here. We come here. By the way, I'm happy to say that we're only going to be here at this place 3 more times. It's going to be we're going to take a summer break. I only have to do this the gig. It's like school teacher. I get the summer off from doing this. So, which Joan Jett CD was I listening to? Up Your Alley. Is Anthony your best pal? Hmm. Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I don't know. I have a few good friends. Imagine being a Beatles fan and all around you, everybody's burning their albums. Let me tell you something. I love to watch that footage of people burning all those rare albums. Keep on burning those rare albums that are mint condition today could get you some money. Keep on pulling out the pages of John's book, the book that's worth money today. Keep on burning that Remco doll head. Somebody's got one of the Remco doll heads on a skewer and burning it. All worth money today, idiots. What do I think is the best Joan Jett compilation? I have a few of them. Um, that's a good question though. There's a CD called Flashback, an album called Flashback that I like. And there's another one I have. I forget what it's called. I think it's a Japanese import that has Joan Jett hits on it. Did you cancel Disney Plus after watching Get Back? No. I still have been paying. It used to be $7 a month, and I think it's gone up, but we're still paying it because we haven't gone about the effort to cancel it yet. Isn't that something? I don't think I know the Nina Simone version of "Here Comes the Sun." Yeah, I don't like. I'm not a fan of that album either. It's a Joan Jett album that CD Man is talking about. I'm not really a fan of that album. Do you think getting the Beatles CD singles is worth it? Not really. Just for collector's purposes for me anyway. And the Runaways, I do like the Runaways as well. Yeah. No, I don't care about Aerosmith at all. I mean, I only like a handful of songs, the usual suspects, Sweet Emotion, Dream On. I don't really care about Aerosmith. I like their version of Come Together. Well, like there are many, many, many songs by many, 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 many artists I like. I'm just not as gung ho in getting everything and collecting it all as I am with the Beatles. That simple, really. Doesn't mean I don't like anything else or listen to anything else. Most of the time these days, I do prefer to hear anything but the Beatles. You know, I've reached the oversaturation point with the Beatles music to me, in the sense, as far as hearing it every day is concerned, for sure. That's something I always like to drive home. You should come to these videos with a short list of topics to discuss. Well, David, how about you do your channel your way and I'll do it my way? But thanks for the advice. Uh, Come to these videos with a short list of topics to discuss when our comments stop flowing. No, I don't mean that. I said that rather harshly. I didn't mean it that way, but you're only trying to help. But, it gives me time to rest. Do I think McCartney will do another tour comparable in size to the Got Back tour? I don't know. I don't care either at this point. I've seen him enough. Do you think vinyl is well overpriced? Yes, I do. It's very overpriced. Yeah, I like not knowing what we're going to talk about, and I just let it go with the flow. Really, it's funny. Have I started listening to my Elvis 60 CD box? Yes, and I stopped. I started and I stopped pretty quick. You know, when you collect as much stuff as I do, both music and movies, there's a lot of stuff. You know, a lot. Howard Stern said the three top bands are the Beatles, the Stones, and Led Zeppelin in that order. Do you agree? I think it's the Beatles, Zeppelin, Stones. No, I would agree with Howard Stern's order. Yeah, Beatles, Stones, and Zeppelin. It's hard to imagine the Beatles in the '70s playing live. No, it is hard. Yeah, Paul never adopted the white jumpsuit, but he did have that weird looking white outfit and white face thing that he did in Give My Regards to Broad Street. Yeah, good point. Beetle Babe says they done the matching suits thing already. Don't think they would still have done that into the '70s. Could be. Like I think that's a good point. Yeah, the Beatles concerts were really short, kind of a jip by today's standards. You go to a Beatles concert, they only play 20, 25 minutes, and I can't even imagine that. And you can't hear anything anyway because of all the screaming. Mm. I'm going to be back here next Sunday on Mother's Day. Oh, lucky me. So I'll be back here for Mother's Day. $5.50 would have been quite a deal, David says. For the Beatles concert for 20, 25 minutes, the thing is, I don't really know what $5 was like back then. Was that like a lot of money for a 20-minute concert back then? Or was it not? No, that's not fake. That's not a fake thing. You saw the video with John doing Imagine his hair brushed back, that ugly look for him with the red. He looks kind of strange, but no, it's not like John. But that's the salute to Lou grade, performance. He did Slippin' and Sliding. He did Imagine. That's an interesting description of the Get Back film for sure. One flew over the cuckoo's nest with guitars. Alrighty. All right. All right. this as a short chat today. I'm gonna go now. Um, Maybe I'll be back a little bit later. I'm not sure yet. Depends. But thank you for spending the time with me here this morning, this afternoon, this evening, depending where you live. And I will talk to you all soon. So save those questions for next time. And if I don't do one of these during the week, I will definitely be doing one of these, as you probably know, next Sunday from here. Later.